Hi everyone!
Hi!
Welcome to our official season premiere-ish of The Dip, brought to you by OSBS, Brave Space.
Yes. We're back, yes.
We're so back.
My name's Ray,
I'm Angelica.
I'm Sanai.
and we've had a whole summer off, but now we're officially back for the new school year.
Yes.
How was y'all's summer?
It was really good. You know, working with like a bunch of kids, everybody's kid except my own. I don't have kids. Let me edit that out. Actually, yeah. But yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Period. Mine was pretty good too. I just worked a lot. Period. Yeah.
Making money. Yeah, a little hustle.
Sick.
It's good for
What
the
about you,
soul.
Ray? What about you?
I did a show.
Yeah.
I was front of house.
Okay.
And then someone got fired and I became the cat.
Yes.
That's what happened. So, but yeah, we're back. We're officially back with OSBS and the Dip podcast. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about men's mental health. This was a discussion we did at the end of the year last year. It was like, I think, was it end of April or like beginning of May?
I think
it was end of April.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was somewhere towards like the end of the school year. We did a discussion about men's mental health and everyone seemed to like it. So we came back and we were like, let's make a podcast episode about it since, you know, that's what we did.
Yes.
So I have my notes from the discussion. We'll just go through that. And then if anything moves us to add anything else, then we'll go from there.
Cool.
All right. So I guess the first question to ask is, in our own words, what is mental health?
Me trying to pull everything I said from the discussion.
I know.
That's
the thing.
I would say, in simple terms, mental health is like, I'm not cooking like I was,
Yeah.
but
It's alright.
It's our first podcast back.
It
We really need
is.
to start off
The
strong.
nerves.
Yeah.
Y'all are staring at us. I don't know what to do. But I guess I would say mental health is kind of like the status of the well-being of your mind, and how it can vary, kind of like the health of your body, but more focused on your mind, since that's what the main function in your body is. Yes.
I think it also has to do with like, I mean, it's a fairly broad definition, but like the things you do in order to help better yourself in terms of like the mind, body, soul, things like that. Because there's like so much that comes into the umbrella of mental health, because that affects everything about you. And there are so many different things you can do that affect your mental health, whether it be good or bad.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard to define something like it, but I just consider it things you do to like change yourself.
Yeah. That's kind of how I was going to define it, like the care of your inner being.
Yes, that's
Something
good.
not like meaning like intestines and like organs and stuff, but like, you know, your soul, like how you said, and your mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then another question we can add on to that, because I mean, we had pretty broad definitions, but I think one thing about mental health that's really closely related is mental illness. I feel like those two things play very close hands to each other. So in our own words, what is mental illness?
When your brain is sick. Not really, but like when you're just, I guess, not doing things that are promoting health, but it's not good for your mind, which kind of ends up affecting your thoughts, affecting your emotions, affecting how you view your perspective on your reality. So yeah.
I feel like a mental illness also kind of like ultimately ends up affecting you physically, like especially if you're thinking of like depression, like a lot of people, like it's very hard for them to get out of bed and like stuff like that. So I think once it starts attacking the mind, it like fully transforms physically as well.
Yeah, it definitely hinders the daily tasks of what you can do. That's what I've at least heard a lot of people say.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of you said the main stuff. It's just things that negatively affect your mental health. So they just play close hands to each other.
Yeah.
So according to the American Psychiatric Association, I took a lot of different like quotes from different articles and places because that's how we do discussions. So I might link them in the description of this podcast. If I do, go check out those articles. If I don't,
Don't worry about it.
yeah, either go look them up or just don't judge me. But according to the American Psychiatric Association, mental illness is health conditions involving changes in emotion, thinking, or behavior, or a combination of these, and are associated with distress and/or problems functioning in social, work, or family activities. They also note that mental health is the foundation of emotions, thinking, communication, learning, resilience, and self-esteem, and that it is key to relationships, personal and emotional well-being, and contributing to community or society. Do we think that's a really good definition?
I think they were right on the nose.
Right on the nose.
Yeah.
Touched every base.
Like,
yes.
yeah.
They hit all the big notes. So another good question to ask is, why is mental health important? In your own words. I keep saying that. That's in our own words. It's the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of what we're doing.
Thought provoking.
But like, why is mental health important? What's the importance of maintaining it?
Like, just so much of it, honestly, because you literally, just the way you go about every single day, you're always thinking about what you're going to be doing that day, what's going to be up and coming. And if like something is like in your mind, like affecting those things, like, ooh, it's just so deteriorating for yourself.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I can't even like put it into words, because it's just like, it's so important, because it's important to take care of yourself in order to like care for other people around you as well, you know.
Like you said, like mental health, taking care of your mind is essentially taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Because it affects the other systems of you. It's like when people talk about stress scientifically and how that can affect you, like physically and emotionally and like all this stuff and stuff, whatever. But yeah, it's very important because it is how you go about making every single decision you make. Like, you either discuss it with yourself first, or even like your subconscious. Even if you do things without like necessarily thinking it through detail by detail, it's already been thought of in your mind. So if something is hindering you from like doing things in the best possible way for you, it can really just warp your entire identity of yourself.
And I think another big thing that goes with it too is like y'all were saying, it could be a big thing or a little thing. And sometimes it could be things that you don't even control. Like, for example, something that positively affected my mental health recently, it is week 1 of the NFL.
Cut it out.
Look, let me enjoy my things. This is about me today.
I'm here for the
That's what this
commercial.
podcast episode is all about.
It's about the
This is for me.
man, actually. That's why he's in the center.
No, but in all seriousness though, it's the first week of football. They're officially back. The National Football League is back. And the Houston Texans, I just watched their game. They beat the Indianapolis Colts. I think it was like 29-27. It was a really good game. It was a good game too.
That's
It
real
kept going
close.
back and forth. So, but like watching my favorite team win positively affected my mental health. And there was nothing I could do to like change what happened.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I felt that day or what I wanted to do, the Texans were still going to win regardless of anything else, and it boosted my mood. It made me happier today. So it's just that important, because such a little thing or such a big thing, something you may not even control, can change how your mental health feels. It's not something that like stays constant. It changes from second to second. Anything else to add on to this topic before we move on? All right. So other than football, what are some ways that we can treat mental health?
Doing the things that you like to do.
Yeah.
Like all your hobbies and stuff. Like for me, it's like I love doing arts and crafts, or like going to the gym, or like being outside or something like that. Just doing things that you like for yourself.
Yes. I think, yes. Yeah, like, I think also having a balance of like everything, because they really say do everything in moderation. So having, especially if you are expected to do something in your life, like work or school or support someone in this or this, whatever, all the things that you have to do, having balance can like be helpful to your mental health, because when you have too much on your plate, it's hard to think about how to scheduleize that. And I'm just throwing that out there because I know that's very important to me, because being at college, I've realized the pros of like having a balanced schedule, and I've realized how much it has made me throw everything away when my schedule, like everything's off balance. Like I can't function correctly. Yeah.
Felt that.
I think another thing is like super basic things, like things you wouldn't even think of, you just naturally do, like sleeping.
Yeah.
Or just like having a good sleep schedule, eating right. You know, sometimes when you eat a bunch of junk, it negatively affects you, but then you eat something really nice and you feel really good afterwards. And then I think another thing we should bring up is that sometimes you can do things to negatively treat your mental health. There are a variety of things you can do, and that'll be something I think we talk about later. At least we did in this discussion, and it'll come up later in this podcast, but there are negative things you can do, but there's a lot of positive things that you can do, and a lot of super positive things.
Yeah.
Anything else to add on before we start moving into the manly side?
No.
I might cut that out because that's a dumb thing I
No,
just
I'm
said.
leaving that.
My fault. All right. Well, the specific topic was men's mental health. There are a lot of different months pertaining to mental health and also men's mental health. Like, for example, May was Mental Health Awareness Month, June was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and this month, the month of September, is actually Suicide Awareness Month. So there are a lot of different months and a lot of different assertions towards mental health. So, for example, June being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, why do you think there was a month specifically designed for men's mental health?
I think it's because men's mental health is really pushed on the back burner, even though, which is almost like surprising to believe because we live in a very patriarchal society and our like world today and stuff. But it just seems like with that society comes a lot of pressures with, you know, being a man and like having it put together and being the leader, being the breadwinner, being the captain of the ship or whatever. So it kind of also indicates that they're not allowed to like have feelings or not allowed to be sensitive or show weakness or anything like that. So nobody kind of thinks about it like, oh, boo-hoo, you're a man. Anyways, get up and like go watch football or something like that. So yeah, I just feel like their mindset is always like the least cared for.
I shot myself in the foot with this football thing.
Yeah, you did.
Gosh dang it.
No, I really agree with that. I think it's like a lot of the social norms that have been like drilled into like everybody's like brains since like your birth. Like I think that's kind of the main reason, because like you said, it's pushed to the back because they're always expected to be this certain type of, or portray this certain type of man to society. And I'm sure you probably have it as a fact, but like men are known to commit suicide more than women are because like they don't feel like they can go to somebody without being judged or looked as weaker than, you know. So I think that's, the social norms are the main reason why it started.
Yeah, I think y'all both said what I was gonna say, so I know I did take notes, so I'll start doing some skip arounds. I need to find this. I can cut this out if I don't. Okay, like you were saying, that I did have a fact in here about suicide, because it is also Suicide Awareness Month, so I made sure to keep this around. According to Mental Health America, another article, suicide has accounted for over 3% of men's deaths in America as of 2021. Also, more than 4 times as many men in America die by suicide compared to women. And for example, of that, 79% of assisted suicides since 2010 were males. And again, this was an article I think I got from like late 2021 or early 2022, but I still think these facts ring true, if not are even more imbalanced. So the question is, why do you think there is such an imbalance in terms of suicide? I think y'all both brought up the good points of like the social norms and stigmatisms that come with being a man in today's society. I think it can be a lot of unnoticed pressure. It can be something that you don't even recognize is a problem until it's much too late. I think that's all I had to add about that.
Yeah. I think also because, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's different, but when you look at it from like men or women and stuff, women seem to talk more. We're yappers. We're certified yappers. And like, we kind of are able to like think things through or make decisions with that community mindset. And I think I heard on a podcast one time just something about women, and I think why we always have a sense of like sisterhood or like talking or linking up is because like, to assume if you go back to the hunter-gatherer years, like when the men were off like hunting, the women were just like gathering and they were just like there with each other, so they probably just kept talking and found peace and getting that connection with each other. And you kind of hear that that's in like with women more, that we talk to each other, we talk to somebody, and we kind of have a hard time getting through things without hearing somebody else's input. But with men, it's kind of like, why are you telling me this? Like, did you just not figure out the solution? It's easy, don't freaking worry about it, just like step it up. So yeah, I think their percentage is very high because they don't really have a listening ear, or they feel like they can't talk to anybody because it's kind of to a lot of them it feels not unnatural, but like they don't really do that.
It's very like unnatural within like I guess their bodies to do that. I don't know if that's true to speak, but like
I get that sometimes.
Just going back to also like the hunter and gatherer kind of situation, like if the men were going out to do something, there was always some sort of task that they needed to do in order to like help their families and stuff, and I feel like there's always some sort of like pressure to like have that task, which will keep your mind from actually sitting there and thinking about what you do before, you know, taking that time to think about how you feel. Talking to somebody. I don't know. It's basically the same thing that you were kind of saying.
I think we've been skirting around this question and kind of answering it, but I'll ask it out right now. What are some other examples of stigmas that men face in today's societies? I know we were bringing up the hunter-gatherer thing. I think something that also kind of plays off of that is like the lone wolf mindset, if that makes sense. Just like men have more of a stigmatism of doing things by themselves versus like women doing things more in like groups or having a community around them, like you said. I feel like that's a really strong one that affects like every single man, even if they don't even know they're doing it. What are some other examples that y'all can think of?
I think not letting their emotions show when they were like when they're younger. It's just like the generations that were before, like the younger boys and stuff were always like, oh, you're not allowed to cry, or you can't do that, like you can't express yourself. It's not just like with crying, you don't have, they restrict their freedom of expression and self identity or something like that, but really just like restriction of expression.
No, I get you. I think some other examples that are like so deeply rooted that we don't even think of them as stigmatisms can sometimes be like the littlest things that we just shove off to the side. Like for example, because I was trying to think of some of these when we were coming up, because I was thinking of this topic. One thing that I always had growing up was in our house, if my mom saw like any kind of bug, like if it be a spider, if it be a cockroach, if it be anything, rather than like her dealing it with it herself, she would stop what she's doing, run into my room and be like, there is a cockroach in my bathroom, come to my room and kill it.
I'd be like, no.
And like, And like, I'm not afraid of like spiders or bugs or anything like that, but I don't like them. I don't want to get close to them. But my mom would like equip me with one of her flip flops and be like, go in there and kill it. And then afterward, take like some tissue paper and like,
Pick it up, throw it away.
yeah, pick it up, throw it away, or like flush it down the toilet or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It had no issues towards me because it wasn't near me.
Yeah.
And yet the stigmatism was rooted so deep within society that women came up to us and forced that stigmatism onto me, even if it was something so little that at the end of the day didn't affect me as much. It's still one of the stigmatism that men face. Another big example that I was thinking of on the way over here is like men paying the bill at restaurants.
He said, I have something to say.
No, I have this story that I've been holding on to because like
that's all right.
it's officially story time. So summer before my like sophomore year of high school, I got a cashiering job, paid like maybe $9 an hour. I forget how much. Just a simple cashiering jobs, just so I could have like spending money, because like I just got a car, so I needed to make gas money, and if I wanted food, I could do that. And then later on that summer, I joined a summer stock with this community theater in my town, and in that community theater, there was one of the girls I was performing with who I guess developed a crush on me, but I didn't know because I was so focused on like my job or the show that I didn't even like register in my head that was happening. So one of those girls' friends who are also in the show came up to me and were like, hey, my friend, I'll just call her M because it's kind of close to her name, but I don't want to, it doesn't affect anyone majorly, and we haven't talked to each other in forever, but she was like, hey, M likes you. You need to do something about that. It wasn't even like a, what do you think? It was like you need to do something about that. And then she was like, I'm gonna give you M's Snapchat. You need to start snapping her. And so like we started talking and it was fine because Em was cool. She was funny. She was nice. So I was like, all right, this is nice. But the big thing that really drove me away from pursuing it at all was it was like me, Em, the friend, and like 3 other people. We went to lunch before one of our rehearsals. I think it was at like Torchy's. I remember because I hated the taco that I got. No, because it literally had like 1 piece of chicken in it.
Really?
But it does. Dude, new podcast topic. Restaurants giving you next to no food.
They're stingy.
Target number 1 Chipotle. Anyways.
The rice, it's crazy.
Anyways, back to my story. So like we're going to Torchy's and it's gonna be normal. It was like my first time at Torchy's, so I was just looking at the menu. And then Em's friend comes up to me and was like, hey, you know what you need to do? You need to pay for Em's meal.
This girl's got
Why did she do
steps? She's got steps.
She was like grabbing the both of us and like,
That's crazy.
And me especially back then, number 1, I wasn't looking for a relationship. Number 2, I was shy and awkward. I could not handle that stuff. So I was like, what?
She said, I'll be your wingman for my
No,
girl.
literally.
But she was like, you should pay for Em's meal. She would really appreciate that. And I was like, what? No, no. And so she literally like takes my shoulder and walks me up to the cashier. And the cashier's like, hi, welcome to Torchy's. What can I give you? She orders for herself. She orders her own food. The cashier goes, anything else? And she goes like, yeah, M, come order, Ray's gonna pay for you. And then M orders, and then they walk away. And then it's like, well, now I have to pay. So I order like half of what I was gonna get. I get like 1 taco and no drink, because I don't want to pay a bunch of money. Yeah, it was the worst. And I ended up paying like $30, which like, I had the money to pay for it, which it was fine, but like I was not making a job where it's like $30 is whatever.
Yeah.
$30 hurt my wallet. And so the entire rest of that lunch and for the rest of the day and even like a day or 2 after, I was super upset. I didn't go to Torchy's till like freshman year of college after that, because like that experience made me hate it so much. I completely stopped talking to Em after. I started just ignoring M's friend. If M started like telling me to do stuff, I started just hanging out with the guys because like we were already clicking as guys anyways, so I just kept it that way. But it was just one of those stigmatisms that like men need to pay for the bill. That's how it works. They need to pay for the women, stuff like that. And it's so deeply rooted that she felt perfectly fine to do it. And it affected my mental health in such a way that I felt really upset for the next couple of days. I never went to Torchy's after that. It ruined any semblance of this relationship ever happening, and now I don't even talk to any of them.
Well, that was crazy, especially the friend being like, yeah, let me get this.
No, literally.
And get my girl here, you're gonna get both of us.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And like, it seems like such a weird experience, but I've seen multiple videos of like a guy who's like, I'll pay for my girlfriend's meal because that's my girlfriend, and then the girlfriend's friends are like, what, you're not gonna pay for us too?
Like, no.
If your bros just say that, stuff like that.
No.
And it's like so deeply rooted
Yeah,
that they don't even think of that as like a problem or a bad thing to do. Women just naturally do it because that's how the stigma's been for years and years, and rather than trying to break stereotypes and go towards true equality, they're just like, men are beneath my boot, start paying for my meals and stuff like that.
Beneath my boot.
Sorry, I don't know.
That one.
But
Yeah.
that one, that's crazy. That's crazy, and I'm sorry that you and your wallet were traumatized from
That's
that
fine.
experience.
I made it up after like a day.
You with your wallet, your stomach, like.
He said,
True.
"I made a sandwich when I got home."
I did.
But like, it's something that it's like you have to see it from the perspective of the other sex, like for real, because if that was women and like men were like expecting women to like always pay for the meal and stuff like that, women would get offended and we'd be talking about this. So it's like that is something that people can't just brush off and be like, oh, like, well, you should anyways because this and society says and whatever. And but when you really think about it, aside from society, like you're going on a long tangent, but the fact is we should be treated as equals, and my wallet is not for everybody and their girlfriends. Like no, yeah. So that's crazy.
Yeah, I also think, going off that, it's important to kind of see, as you're doing a situation, reverse it. Would you want that done to you as well? Plays a big part in those stigmatisms too.
Yeah, because it's fine if you like, regarding bills, if you want to split the bill, like if you offer to be like, hey, I'm gonna pay for you, I'm like, that's crazy, but okay. But not, oh, I'm not gonna bring my wallet because I'm gonna expect him to pay for me.
I'm expected, like,
if I was him, I'd be like, that's gonna be really crazy at the end of the day because I didn't bring my wallet either. So
exactly.
What are we gonna do?
What are we both gonna do? Huh?
We're both gonna have to make sandwiches. Let's not going anywhere.
Let's be both scrubbing dishes for that,
like that's crazy. So yeah, that's
No, yeah.
and that's only like a small example.
Yeah.
Like not for y'all to think deeply on that situation because I know it's still a big topic on like what men should do and what women should do. When at the end of the day, it's just like what people choose to do, like make the decision yourself. But that is just a small example on like more things, the broader like scope of the stereotypes that men are subjected to and stuff. So we don't want y'all to be like stuck on that.
That was crazy. I'm
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
crazy.
No. We might have already like inadvertently answered this question, but why are these stigmas that we talked about so strong that it's preventing men from getting help with their mental health?
I think the men, like most men, just have a fear of, I guess you could say, being feminine or showing what is said to be feminine. Because like a lot of the things that are said, especially with towards men, is like, oh, you don't want to do that because you don't act like a girl, or you don't want to be like a girl, or tough it up because you're not a girl, you're not a wimp, or like just like being in a sense of weakness. Like sometimes people consider femininity as also the same as weakness, and so I think because the stigmatisms that are played within social norms of men always need to be this certain thing, they're fearful of what, especially like people in like your family and stuff, of like what other people that are around you and close to you will think of you if you are open about it. If that makes sense. I think just a fear, honestly.
And I think bouncing off the idea of like men having that specific thing, I think another stigmatism that men have that kind of go with this whole thing is the idea that men can fix it.
Yeah.
Like they don't need help, they can just do it themselves.
Yeah.
Or they can just like power through it, just
Yeah.
like toughen up. Men don't cry, rub some dirt on it, and you're fine.
Right.
Yeah.
When with stuff like mental health, when it gets to that extreme of a point, especially for men when they don't even realize it, it's not something you can fix by yourself. You need help. You need something other than what you are doing to force itself in and help you out. But men don't want that to happen because they're under the assumption that men have to fix things themselves. Men are under the impression that they can just walk it off and fix it the next day, like sleep on it and tomorrow you're all better.
Yeah, right.
And with something as strong as mental health, because mental issues and mental illnesses can be so heavy that can't happen.
Yeah.
I just think it's so exhausting to forcefully fit yourself in the perspective of someone else's
Yeah, absolutely.
like decisions or views of you. Like that's very exhausting because you're essentially, even if it's like it's an identity of who you are, like if a man's like, yeah, I'm a man, but like if I just do everything on that certain label of me, I'm ignoring all the other things about myself that make me me, and that's just very exhausting. And I know that personally, like not as a I'm a but like from personal, little did y'all know, but I know that personally from like family experience, because like the like my dad, he is very much like strong, firm black man, and this is this, and just like grew up hard life and whatever, very caring and stuff like that. But I constantly, like I've seen it since I was younger, the way that the male mindset of masculinity and stuff, and being a man and being the leader and being the only man in the house full of women, is like, it's just how he holds it and how it just doesn't, like, it almost eats him up. Like sometimes he's like, oh, you know, I've gone through so many hard things that y'all would be just shocked. Like I protect you from all that stuff, but y'all wouldn't even believe it. And you know, there's nothing that men could do about it. Like that's just life. Like things happen, and you just gotta like keep going. And like, yeah, I know there's like therapy and stuff, but like, man, I don't have time for all that. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, like it's heartbreaking to hear, because it feels like you're in this shell that you're just like, you're not breaking through. So yeah, and it's just like, it's not even a decision that you put on yourself. Like when you were a child, I'm gonna fit all these things because no, like you're trying to appease to the masses that aren't even in front of you, and that's very exhausting. So yeah.
Let's look at another article that I pulled up. Yes, this one. Okay, so this is from Medical News Today, another very good article from a very good news source. On a daily basis, many males find themselves grappling with perspective, antiquated ideas about gender, and this struggle can contribute to their mental health issues. It also explains why so many males have a difficult time admitting that they need help and pursuing it. In 2022, the American Journal of Public Health published a review of studies dealing with the social stigma surrounding mental illness. It found that men who internalized that stigma were less likely to get help for their psychological issues and more likely to face challenges and a heightened risk for severe mental illness. I think that was a very good summary of what we've been talking about for the past like 15-ish minutes. And when I kind of read this, it makes me think of a very good example of men's mental health in like the media, that being the movie The Iron Claw. Like it sounds weird to say, but like seriously, The Iron Claw is such a good movie for a variety of reasons, but one of the main ones is showcasing men's mental health and how negatively it can affect people. Because like pretty much all the deaths that happened within the Von Erich family were different forms of mental health taking its effects. Like, I forget all their names now, but one of them, he was like sick and coughing up blood all the time, but he was so weighed down by the social stigmatisms of being a man and being a family person and being a brother and all this stuff that he didn't get help for it.
Yeah.
And it ended up killing him off, even though he had a wife and he was about to have a kid. There was the one who had like the surgery gone wrong, and then he had some sort of like mental, I think it was a disability afterwards. I forget exactly what happened to him, but he was so bogged down by the social stigmatisms of needing to fit in with how his family worked and being a man in that world that he physically could not do it, and he thought the only solution was to take his own life so he wouldn't burden the rest of his family. And then there was the only name I really remember, Carrie Von Erich, who like had everything going for him, but then started losing all of these things. Like, he lost his chance at the Olympics, and then he had that motorcycle accident where he lost his leg, and it became such a big weigh down on him that it affected his mental health, and he ended up taking his own life. And all these different things, and then at the very end, it showed like, it's okay to break social stigmatisms. It's okay for men to cry, because we're all human. Men can cry too.
Yeah.
Like, kids cry all the time, and that's fine. And it helps. So, sorry, I just wanted to include that because I was thinking of it. And The Iron Claw is a very good movie. You should watch it if you haven't.
Absolutely.
Let's see what else we've got. Oh, kind of going off of what I was saying, a big issue that can affect men's mental health and kind of goes with the ideas of social stigmatisms is substance abuse. I have this article from the Hawaii Pacific University. Due to stigma, societal expectations, and stereotypes of masculinity, men often self-treat through addictive behaviors such as substance abuse. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, men use various illicit drugs more than women. Why do you think men struggling with mental health will resort to things like drugs or alcohol?
I don't know why I feel like those types of things, not necessarily like a man thing, but like for example, like my uncle was always known to like have a beer in his hand, or like go out with like all my uncles, they go out together. The first thing that they're doing is having a beer together or having some sort of thing together. I think it's because like oftentimes like men are working and doing those stuff, and the only way to get their edge off is by doing those types of things. Like, it's a common thing for a lot of men to do. And so I think because it's so common within them, that's kind of like all they know per se. And it's the easiest thing that they can get to. I think because it's so easily accessible and because it's so common with them, that's kind of why it results into that, if that makes sense.
I also think it like when you do it, when you commit substance abuse, it calms down your mind. It makes you stop thinking so intently about everything that you have to do and what's going on, and all your worries, all your cares, just like gone. And then when it's out your system, or when you can tell the effect is wearing off, then you just kind of get a flood of your emotions and your thoughts back. A lot of those thoughts they don't even want to mess with anymore, so they just like go back to it. And even though they know how it's affecting them, and like many of them want to stop doing it, it's like, okay, but if I stop doing it, then not only do I have to think about all the things that I don't want to think about and face those fears, I also have to figure out how to get my body to get off this addiction. So that's like so much. So yeah, it's just this constant cycle that they fall into.
And kind of bouncing off of that, it is like a short-term solution, but it's also something kind of going back to the stigmatisms of like being the lone wolf. It's something you can do by yourself.
Yeah.
And it's something super easy, like rather than like going to pay for therapy and going every week, you could just like run down to the store, buy a 6-pack, and then get like cure yourself in like an hour's worth of time. Are there any instances where like drugs or alcohol or something like that can actually help? Because I mean, there are like certain
Mm-hmm.
medications
Right.
that people can take. I think I have someone in my family who has a lot of substance abuse issues in the past, but are now taking medications and also doing therapeutic things to get fixed towards that. So I know that's at least one example that I can personally see, but that kind of goes towards the idea of like actually going to get
Also
help.
going to therapy, yeah, and to
Yeah.
the doctor and stuff, yeah.
And I think the only reason he went and did that is because his family members noticed that it was getting really bad and they forced him almost, because he wasn't gonna help himself, so
Mhm.
they took that step for him.
Mhm.
Are there any examples that or things that you can think of that we can do to lower like substance abuse issues with men and trying to fix their mental health?
I could,
Go ahead, go, you got it.
all right.
Yeah.
I guess just checking in on the male figures in your life more, and like opening, like letting them know that you are somebody that they can talk to, and it doesn't have to be like, hey, I just want you to let you know that I'm always here for you, like whatever you need, I'm gonna be in your business whenever you need me to be, like it's not kind of that, because that's kind of off-putting. Yeah, it's giving, nosy. But it's just like presenting yourself, because like a lot of men are a lot of them are kind of an acts of service type thing. I think it could just falls under the stereotype, and they end up becoming acts of service type people. So I think showing them that you're there for them in a way that's just like actions more than words, it can kind of fall easier into maybe just like opening up conversation a little easier. And then like it's like when this person's always in your life, then you kind of just have this feeling when they're around that's just like, I kind of want to talk to them about this. I don't feel like it, but like, we're kind of cool. Like might just like naturally open up. Because some people I've heard girls or other people say, they don't have a lot of guy friends, or they feel like they can't talk to men, or they can't make friends with men, or this is that. So because a lot of people say that, it might kind of bring them more into that lone wolf thing. There's nobody around me, so why would I talk to anybody?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna kind of say like basically the same thing. Just letting them know that there is a space that is available to them, open to hear whatever, free of like judgment and stuff. Making sure that they also feel just free of that judgment and worry and fear is very important.
Yeah.
So and definitely not being like, hey, you want to tell me everything that
Like
you're feeling right now?
so bad, and they're like, no, I don't. Yeah.
I didn't have any solutions. I genuinely don't think of any, but I think those are both good points. So let's move on to other things. I think we've kind of hit what happens if we ignore it. So I guess we've kind of been talking about this. We've been talking about a lot of things throughout, because we've all been doing a very good job of keeping things rounded and tying things back. But another little quote here from the Hawaii Pacific University article I read. While certain strategies...
It's okay. It's okay.
Cut. Anyways, while certain strategies can mitigate some mental health issues, they will only work if men acknowledge that they need them. The biggest challenge remains getting men to actually accept help. So the question now becomes, what can we do to get men to get help? Or even just accept help? Because I mean, there's a lot of things you could do to like go get them help. Like literally pick them up and like drag them into a therapy office or something. But what can we do to get them to accept it?
What do you think? Like if you were in that situation, like what is something that would help you?
Like if I were in need of
if you were in
assistance?
Need of assistance,
I think part of it would be, number one, finding a way to teach myself that what I'm doing is wrong. Because I think a lot of issues with men and struggling with mental health is the idea that they don't think what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Or like societal norms make them think that what they're doing is not necessarily like the right thing, but like the normal thing to do. So I feel like when men abuse substances like alcohol or drugs, or try and move on just carrying the burden of mental health, they're doing it in such a way to be like, I don't have an issue because I can't. So I feel like that would be the big thing. I'm trying to think what else. Maybe I can read another quote from the Hawaii Pacific University thing. To continue on with our quotings, those trying to get a man in their lives to accept mental health care should create an environment that encourages them to talk about their well-being. Strategies to help a partner who won't talk about their feelings include using positive body language, reassuring without judgment or criticism, and being responsive. Those are a lot of good things, but I feel like those are like easier said than done kind of things.
Absolutely, yeah.
There are so many just like unwritten or unspoken issues within like men's personal lives and just within society itself that make it difficult for them to break out of their shell. But I mean, if we can create an environment where number one, we start breaking those societal norms, but number two, we encourage help. We like encourage people to think about their well-being. We teach people that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to recognize that. You don't always have to be all right. And that's something I'm personally working on, and I think people will always work on. I don't think we'll ever get to a point in life where it's like we're completely fixed. There's no like permanent solution to these things, which is why answering questions like what can we do can be so hard and need to think about it, because there won't always be an answer, but there's things that we can do to get in the right direction.
I think one of the things that really stood out was the constant like reassurance and the constant like acknowledgement that there is something like useful that you can do to help. I think because, not saying that women aren't just as stubborn, but like men are stubborn as well, clearly, because they don't actively do anything about it. I think if you just, and it can get annoying at times, trust, but like if it's in need, like constantly just being like, hey, you can talk to somebody, there's this person that I know you can talk to. I think just the consistency of it is very important.
I think, I think also like when you're telling them, giving examples and stuff, because some people are just like, hey, this is what therapy does for you, and they're like, I already know that, but like, you know, kind of sharing stories of how it worked for somebody, or like the benefits about it, like interesting facts or like stories like that, kind of pique people's interest naturally. Like if you, I don't know, told me that some sort of health soda was really good and really tasty and like whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's all right. But if you told me like interesting facts or what it did to people, and they're like, oh no, I don't even drink soda, this actually tastes a lot better, this is this, I try it every day, I'm gonna be like,
I've lost this many pounds.
I'll be like, lost how many pounds? Like, let me know. So just kind of like making it more conversational instead of direct, like you need to do this, and they're like, I don't need to do anything, like just something like that might help pique their interest.
This isn't something that I have written down here, but you know, OSBS is created through a theater department, so I think we always like using these podcast episodes trying to go back to theater in some facet. Can y'all think of any stigmatisms that men might have in the theater industry
Like
that might negatively affect their mental health?
the ones who are already in it, or the just like men and like about like men regarding the theater industry? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes to both.
Like men,
Yes
so
to
men who
both.
are already in it. Okay, yes to both.
I mean, just like any facet of men towards theater. And it could also be like film, it could be like backstage stuff, it could be anything like that.
I feel like when it comes to theater, I guess the stereotypes are like, oh my gosh, that's gay, I ain't gay, whatever.
Literally already.
So that's what I was thinking in like men outside of theater. I guess like it seems gay or it seems really feminine because of the amount of expression that's in it. When you're really in that major or you're really into that craft, you realize how much of it is we're just expressing how to be human.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of like psychology and sociology on just like being a human being or being a person, how this person may think and whatever. And sometimes that open doorway can kind of be overwhelming or just very uncharted territory. Men in theater. What was the question again?
What are some like stigmatisms that men in theater might have that might negatively affect their mental health?
On top of that, I feel like because of the whole like femininity like aspect of like theater, like going back to like just normal reality, like men are constantly trying to prove themselves to be manly even though they're in this profession. They're trying to just constantly prove themselves to other men who are over here being like, oh, that's for sissies or whatever. I don't know. I feel like that can be very harmful, and it's something that a lot of like men in theater face a lot.
I agree with those, but I think, I mean, obviously stigmatisms can always be broken, and I feel like one place where that happens a lot is like men in film. Like, I might be wrong, but at least in my mind, I haven't heard people say like the Marvel characters,
right?
Like Robert Downey Jr.,
Right.
people like that. I don't think of anyone being like, Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man, that's gay.
Yeah.
But I feel like another stigmatism that goes with it is like in theater, people are so used to once someone plays a certain role, that's all they're thought about.
Yeah.
Like one that always comes to mind is the bad guy from The Walking Dead. What was his name? Negan? The guy with like the baseball bat with like the nails coming out of it and stuff.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I've never watched Walking Dead, but I remember seeing like articles and all this stuff about like after, I think it was like the season finale of one of the Walking Dead seasons, it was like all the main cast, like the main protagonists got captured by Negan and his goons, and they started like killing characters off one by one, and they would just like hit him in the head with the baseball bats. And the guy who played that main antagonist was not getting roles and was not getting cast in things because when he would go into auditions, the casting directors would think like, oh, that's the guy from The Walking Dead who killed off some of my favorite characters. I don't like him anymore. Or like when audiences would watch him do other things, they'd be like, that was the guy who killed off the other people in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of going back to Marvel, with Robert Downey Jr. again, like he was awesome as Iron Man, but most people just think of him as Iron Man now. So when they did that reveal that he was going to play Doctor Doom, people really hated that reveal because people were like, why him?
He was like, I'm back.
Not only were there a bunch of other options, but also he's Iron Man. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's another stigmatism because like, and I mean, women have that too. I think that's just a thing that's always going to be in theater. But I feel like that happens a lot more with men because number one, they play more like villainous characters, and villains stick more in our heads because they do bad things and they make you hate them, and hate can be a much stronger emotion. But also just like men usually sequel things a lot more, and they become like the pinnacle or like the poster child of a certain thing, you know? So I feel like that's another stigmatism that men might face in theater.
Yeah. It's almost like, well, I don't know if I'd say they get, well, okay, let me stop interrupting myself. It's almost like they get, what is it, typecasted more, or like put in a box more, because not that, of course, that's literally not saying that women don't, but, you know, think, I don't know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like he plays a lot of strong characters because he's like viewed as a strong man, and he's played some strong characters. So now you always see him in some action movie with a big fat creature or like jumping off a skyscraper. Or Jason Momoa or all these other like men. They're just like always, when you watch their films or things that they're doing, you're like, oh, it's kind of just a variation of what they've been doing. They kind of get these roles, so they don't really get a chance to like do other roles outside of that. Very, very not as much as women might do.
So when you hear Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson
Mhm.
singing on Moana, you're like, oh my
Right.
god,
Yeah,
Dwayne "The Rock"
that's
Johnson sing, like
ridiculous.
what?
Right. Even his character was all muscular, and I was like, it's literally Dwayne.
It's literally Dwayne on the screen.
Yeah.
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 Kind of bouncing off of that question and kind of linking to the last question we had before we started going into theater, what can we do as like a theater world to make a more comfortable environment so that if men or just theater people in general face those stigmatisms, we can fight against it and also try and steer away from negative mental issues.
I think back to the same thing that I was saying earlier, where it comes back to the consistency. Like, I feel like this year they started off with a ton of consistency for mental health, especially during the majors meeting. There was like an entire section dedicated towards mental health. And although we've like heard many of those before, I think because we're hearing it again, they want us to drill it into our minds, letting us know that we have options and there is space for us to talk about that. I think just continuing the consistency, especially within our field being so emotionally related and taxing, is very important.
Yeah.
I think another thing too is theater is always trying to break the mold, trying to break the norms, trying to break stigmatisms. And I think the more we do that, the more progression we have. Like one example I think of is, forgive me if I mispronounce the name, Ke-Huy Quan, the guy from Everything Everywhere. All at Once.
Yes.
Yeah. Because like, you know, he had that one acting role in Indiana Jones when he was a kid, and I think he tried to pursue acting more, but it just never panned out. And then they had this movie that just like shattered societal norms and was like objectively weird. Like, I'm not saying
objectively speaking,
like the movie is weird, but that's not a bad thing.
Right.
It did all these crazy things, and it made people think, and it made people feel, and it broke things, and it raised him up on a pedestal, and now he's kind of this poster child, and everyone loves him even more. And I think another example, I hate that I keep going back to Robert Downey Jr. because I don't want to keep getting stuck in a hole, but like him in Oppenheimer, like I don't think he had won a Tony and an award for like acting before then. I think that was his first ever award when he went to, I think.
That'd be crazy if he didn't get anything from
I'm pretty sure it was. If it wasn't, again, please forgive me. I didn't do enough research on this. I'm just kind of like spitballing off ideas. But like, I do think that was his first like film award for something like that. Even though he's like a very beloved actor and has done all these incredible movies, he had never like specifically gotten an award for himself for his acting careers because of the stuff that he did. And then he went into this movie which had a lot of like unique like storytelling elements and things like that, and he did such an incredible job that people rewarded him for it. So I think the more that theater and like film, because I mean film's doing more of the norm breaking now, and I mean theater's doing that too. I'm sure there are examples of it that I'm not thinking of, but I mean just the entire theater world, we're constantly breaking norms and trying to like shatter stigmatisms and advance the world and make us think and feel and progress. That it's going to help with like mental health issues or stigmatisms that men might have in this industry.
I think Iron Claw was a very good example of that, and just more stories like that, more stories regarding where it's like once you watch it, you're like, oh, this has to do with mental health, or oh, this is like a direct reflection with this and stuff. Like it takes you through a story, and then it slowly reveals why this story was made, why this movie was made. And stories stick with us. Like stories and humans, we're like this. We just get so attached, especially like with film. It's just like more easily accessed, because like with theater, like we love musicals, but we can't have access to like all the musicals ever. Like a lot of them you just have to go and see. So yeah, just telling those stories more will make it talked about in society more. Because every single movie that's out, the ones that get the most attention are the ones that always get talked about and reflected on. So.
And I think bouncing off that too, like with the Iron Claw, there are a lot of stories out there that are based off of like true things, like real events that happen. So like it's not just a story, it's like a real story.
Right.
So like theater is always holding up a mirror to like the audience and making them think. But that doesn't just affect the audience, that affects like us as actors and crew members and directors too. Like one example that I think of, at least in my experience for theater, is the Laramie Project. The Laramie Project, it's a great story, look it up if you haven't before, but it's based off of like a real world event, and all of the characters in the show are real people, and all of their lines are real words that were said in like interviews that were made. So it really opened, I think, everyone's eyes. I think everyone took something away from that show in the sense of like, well, because it told the truth. It showed multiple perspectives rather than just being like a one-sided affair. It opened up the possibilities of like, this is what this side thinks and this is what this side thinks. People agree with this and disagree with this, and you can hear everyone's sides, and everyone has their own reasonings for things, and whether or not you think it's fair reasoning is kind of up to your own interpretation. But they tell the truth, they tell a story, there's a message behind it, and it affects you. Not just when you watch it, but when you do it, when you perform it. So I think that's a really cool thing that theater allows us to do, and it helps shatter stigmatisms and better our mental health in that way.
Theater is healthy. It's just, hard on actors.
True. Anything else we want to add? Because I think that's pretty much all we have to talk about in regards to this topic.
I think when you leave this podcast, don't just leave like being like, wow, a lot of good things were said. I like this video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. But really like take it out into the world and try to just think of the things that we've said to help men and their mental health and be there for them. Try to actually put that into play. And don't do it just to see results. Do it because you genuinely care. And you might not directly see results, but you might have planted a seed into their mindset of making them think and open up more. Like, you never know, you know. And take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Moderation. Yes. Okay.
True. Well, maybe before we wrap up, do we want to talk about what OSBS is doing this year? Because I mean, it's a new school year.
Yes.
OSBS is back. 2024, 2025. We're making things happen. We already had La Teoria night.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yes.
Turnout was good, like it always is.
I won a prize, like I always do.
Yes, it was so fun. We had many rock, paper, scissors battles this year in order to break some ties.
Yes.
It was good.
What else we got coming up?
Other than podcasts and discussions, do we want to talk about the lip sync costume show? Just a little splash. Something.
Tell your friends, share this video.
Share this video.
So if you want to look back in our other podcast episodes, we have talked about the drag view that we have here on our own solid WT campus grounds. But we want to do something to not necessarily like defy that, but in a way, yes, defy that.
Breaking norms.
Breaking the norms. We are going to be hosting a lip sync variety show, hopefully during Halloween, where you can do your lip sync talent. Because it's not drag, it's just lip syncing.
Yes.
With a costume on.
Right.
Yes.
Not drag.
Yeah, no,
Definitely not. It's not that,
No,
guys.
it's Halloween. Guys, it's Halloween.
You're hearing the words from us right now. It's not drag.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like, you're
You
probably
can't sue
gonna...
us.
You can't sue us.
No.
You can't cancel it.
Yeah.
A harmful
Cancel our money.
lip sync variety show? No
Huh?
such thing.
No such
During
thing.
Halloween, what can you do? You're gonna dress up anyways.
Yeah,
Right.
people just know.
People just know.
Yeah,
It could be a whole
yeah.
thing. It could be a whole thing. Whole time. Yes.
Be on the lookout for that. Also, our event of like building an ofrenda for the Panhandle Historical Museum is coming up soon.
Yes.
Really like the end of October, like early November, but it is something that we participated in last year, and I don't know if we shared it, but we got 4th place, so top 5 guys. Hey, be jealous.
Hey.
And it's something that we're doing again, and if you want to participate, you can bring pictures or like mementos of loved ones or people that you care about, and
Have it passed.
that have passed. Yes, that is the reason for it.
Not your living
Not your
loved
living
ones.
And put it on our ofrenda, and we put it into the museum, and it's really, really lovely to see all the ofrendas that are there. So yes.
And this year, we're going for first.
First
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
4th is the floor, but we're going number 1.
Mhm.
All right.
1 to the sun. is what it
We're
is.
getting a medal,
Uh-huh.
and it better be gold.
Yeah.
It better be gold around my waist, and I can like, you know, just like Olympic, like buy the gold medals, you know.
Yeah, the Olympics. Yeah, we're going for first.
We're gonna have a very busy October month,
Mhm.
so
Yes.
stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Stay tuned. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on our other social medias, Instagram.
That's
That's
Yeah.
it. Follow us on
Just
Instagram at Open Space Brave Space. You'll find out more info about everything else. Share this video with all your friends. Go watch all the other videos. Comment down below why you love men so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comment down below why men are the best.
Comment. Yeah, vote for men.
Vote for men.
Comment down below things that you do to help your mental health
Ooh,
during
yeah.
the day, because somebody could read it and try those tips. That's very
Oh,
good.
yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
if you're a man, you're required. You are required. Yes.
Yeah. And then maybe reply to that comment. Oh my God, I love men. Men are the best.
Wait.
Shouts out men.
Shout
Yes.
out to men.
Team men for life.
Even if you don't date men, you can respect them. You don't have to love men romantically.
You don't have to love men to like men.
Yeah.
True. We should put that on a
We
shirt.
should.
You don't have to love men to like men. Yeah. We
You
are
know,
at the
look
end
out
of
for our
the day.
new merch that you
Yeah,
don't have to
yes.
love men to
Yeah.
like men.
We're at the end of the day, we're all human. We came from a woman, but
Yeah.
we had help. Anyways, so.
Comment down below why men are the best. I'm gonna die on this hill. Comment down below why you love football.
Comment
I
down
know you're gonna say
below
football.
why you don't like Torchy's or Chipotle or other restaurants that
Yeah.
are stingy.
That don't be giving
Wait,
me
how much
food.
time we got? Can we go on a can we go on a Chipotle tirade?
Yes.
Alright, our next
yes.
podcast episode, we will be talking about Chipotle.
The rise and fall.
And
Chipotle.
the rise, fall, the rise, fall, and destruction of Chipotle.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna be giving you tips and tricks on how to get more food in your Chipotle burrito.
And how to make your own burrito.
But a little spoiler warning, record them, because evidently if you record them, they're required to
I heard about that.
pack them up.
That's crazy. Be like, put in more rice. Give me the cilantro.
Mhm. Put it in there. I have 1 million followers.
I have a million
I have a
followers.
YouTube page.
Better watch out.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube page.
We know
for-
people.
I'm part of like a student org. It has like 50 subscribers on it right now.
Yeah. You want to get paid?
Fill up my burrito.
Come on now.
But yeah, look out for our next podcast episode.
Mhm.
We'll probably not be talking about Chipotle. I don't want to trick you guys anymore.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
We've been running this guide for too long.
Guys, in the comments down below, comment about how upset you are about us tricking you about what next episode is.
Yeah.
Comment down below who you think is going to be in our next podcast.
Ooh,
If
yeah.
you know some of our council members.
Oh.
Mhm.
Comment down below some future podcast episodes. for
Yes.
us.
Ooh,
What
yeah,
you
do
would
that.
like to
What do
see.
you want to hear?
Yeah,
What
because
would you
we've
like, what
had a
topic?
variety of things, but you know, we've done a wide variety of things. I thought we've done a mental health episode before this one, but we actually haven't.
We talked about trauma.
Yeah, we've talked about
but-
things kind of relating to mental health,
Yeah.
but never
Yeah.
specifically mental health.
No. Yeah.
Next episode will be women's mental health.
Yes, and it'll
And then the
probably
episode
be-
after is they them mental health.
Yes, all around the mindset, neurodivergency.
Yeah,
All around.
that's a good idea for a podcast
You're
episode.
welcome.
I bet
Comment down below.
Yeah, I better see
If
so
you
many
would like to see
comments.
that. Yeah.
So to recap, comment down below, future podcast episodes, why you love men, why you love football, why you hate Chipotle. Was that it?
Comment, good podcast ideas.
That was the first thing.
Oh.
Podcast ideas, why you love men, why you love football, why you hate Chipotle.
What you do to help your mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah, that's
What
it.
you
And then
Yeah.
maybe your favorite color.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you made it all the way to the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Because you might have commented before and filled out one of those descriptors, but we're going to make sure you watch the very end.
If you comment, then you might see your favorite color worn by one of the council members in the next podcast.
Maybe
you a
Sinai will
shout
give
out.
you $1
Just one. Just one.
for each comment. So
Yeah.
if like the same person comments 10 times,
no.
Sinai gives you 10 $1 bills.
Don't comment too
That's
much.
10 bucks.
All right, that's all I.
That's
have.
what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna comment like everything once and then copy paste it and like put it in the comment section 50 times.
I'm
Now
gonna
you're
look at my
giving them
wallet and be
the,
like,
the idea. You're giving the viewers the
Yeah,
idea.
comment down below an infinite money glitch. My infinite money glitch is just stealing money from Sinai.
Yes, I have stories. We can talk. Yes.
Yeah, true. So yeah, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Be sure to look out for future podcast episodes. Follow us on our other social media page to find out other events, discussions, things we do
Yes, we're
in the future. We're happy to be back.
Yes.
We hope you're happy that we're back. Share this with all your friends because we want to blow up.
Yeah.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody. That's another thing. Comment below your favorite vine because that was a vine.
Oh my gosh. We gotta close this video.
No, it's okay.
Shut
We're
it
going
down.
another 15 minutes of things they need to comment.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's next
Yeah.
podcast episode, things you should put in the comment section.
Yeah.
Because our comment sections are always so dry. I think the only episodes that actually have comments is like the first episode,
Yeah.
maybe the second episode, and then our return episode from last year. And then there was one episode where like towards the beginning we were like, comment down below your favorite color or something like that. And then I think there was just like people who were in OSBS that just commented.
We said, yeah, this is so crazy. Me going to my 3 different email accounts being like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like our videos get like 10 views and then like no likes, no comments, no nothing.
Watch when it picks up when we're all gone.
Yeah.
Like, it just,
True.
we knew them when.
We knew that.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody. Alright, we've been going too long. We need to wrap this up. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to look out for our stuff. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Like this video. Comment down below all the things we asked you. Share this with all your friends.
Yeah.
And look out for future OSBS stuff and future episodes of The Dip.
And if you know somebody who is into theater, tell them about our department because we're pretty cool. You can see us live in person. Ray will give you $1 and his autograph. Yes.
Sinai's gonna give more dollars in that scenario.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm giving $1, okay, we're not closing this episode now.
Okay.
Because
No, okay.
well, because
Our
you're
money's
giving
gotta go.
dollars for things, I'm giving dollars for
So
things.
what are you giving dollars
I mean, like,
for?
'cause what are you
Miss
giving
Brad.
them?
I'm gonna organize who's getting the dollars. So like, you give them all the dollars to me, and then I will switch them between them, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
For every like any video of OSBS gets, Angelica will give you $1.
So we're trying to get to 50K, and she's also trying to get to 50K.
Yeah, $50,000.
She heard her wallet back,
Angelica
bro.
will show her credit card numbers on camera.
She'll give you a house tour. A house tour vlog. Yes.
Yeah. So if you like all of our videos, just give a like to each one. I think this is what, episode 15?
Yeah.
You'll get $15 from Angelica.
Oh.
And then if you comment on every episode, you get $1. Well, you get $1 because it's just this episode, but you should comment more. Okay, we've been doing this long. I'm sorry. This bit just kind of kept going, and I never knew when to end.
The dip is all about the bits. The bits of the dip.
Yes.
The bits of the dip. The bits of the dip. Yep. I don't know why we didn't actually go through with that. Having like the, you know?
Yeah.
I think it was because the last time someone
Like,
did it was
actual
Brit, and Brit got way too close to the microphone when that happened.
Oh.
And then I have to edit through that, and I have to listen
That's
to
true.
Brit do that.
Yeah.
We'll just
So-
be at the very. We'll be far away from the.
We
phone.
did one of these.
Yeah.
That's a recurring thing.
You're right.
Yeah.
We did.
Guys, in the comments down below, comment your favorite recurring bit that we do during the dip. If it's this, if it's saying lock in, if it's clapping the signal,
Lock
stuff like
in.
that,
Yes.
whatever it
It's
may
my
be.
favorite.
Okay, we should end this episode now. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all later. Have a good day. We'll see you in future episodes. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll miss you.
Goodbye.
Bye. We can rewind it. See us again. Yeah.
Cool.